Welcome to Oliveboard. I hope you are all doing well and your preparation is in full swing. In our previous video, we discussed the essay writing component of descriptive writing, wherein we discussed how to write a good essay and also analyzed a sample essay. In today's video, we are going to discuss letter writing. Here, we will look at the two different types of letters, which is formal and informal. We will also discuss the letter format and take a look at sample letters of each type. But before we move ahead, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more such videos. Let us first start with which are all the components that forms a part of the descriptive writing component and which of these are asked under which examination. So, when we see SBI PO Mains, essay writing and letter writing falls a part of it, but there is no précis writing and a total of 50 marks is devoted for these two sections. For RBI Grade B Phase-II examination, we have essay writing, letter writing and précis writing and a total of 100 marks is devoted for this section. For IBPS PO Mains, we have essay writing, letter writing, but we do not have précis writing and a total of 25 marks is devoted for this section. So from here we can see that essay writing and letter writing forms a part of all the three examinations, but précis writing falls under only RBI Grade B Phase-II examination. Let us see what letter writing consists of. So, letter writing has two components, which is formal letters and informal letters. First, we should know why do we have letter writing. So, letter is addressed to a single person or a specific person under a specific situation, whatever the situation may be. When we talk about formal letters which are written to a formal entity like bank manager or news editor or government officials, there is a specific purpose for which we are writing that letter. And when we talk about informal letters, here we write letters to our friends, our relatives, our parents or our siblings. So there may not be a specific reason for which we are writing. Maybe if we are missing them, we just end up writing a letter to them. So the letter writing component tests how our written communication is. This is the reason it is asked under various banking examinations. As letter writing is a component under descriptive writing, we should know how are the letters we write evaluated. So, the first thing is the content part. Now, when we talk about the content, it is what are we writing in the question asked to us. Supposingly, a question asks us to write a letter to the bank manager. So, in the letter, when we see the content, we have to make sure whatever the reason for which we are writing the letter, the content has it all. Second thing is the formal requirement. Now, when it comes to essay, we should know that there is a particular format in which an essay is to be written. Are we following that format or not? Marks are given to us if we are following the proper structure for the letter. Third thing is development, structure and coherence. Now, when we talk about letter, we should make sure that it is structured in a well manner. We give an introduction to the letter. We also have a body in which we mentioned what is the reason behind us writing the letter, and at the end we should have a conclusion to the letter and close the letter like that. Fourth component is vocabulary and spelling. See, vocabulary is not that important. We should not have a very high-fi vocabulary to write a simple letter. It is to be written in a manner so that whosoever we are addressing the letter to understands what the letter is all about. Spelling. Now, when we talk about spelling, we have to make sure that all the words we are mentioning in the letter are spell error free. Last thing is grammar. We should make sure that the grammar is correct. We use punctuations when and where required. So grammar should not be incorrect. We have to make sure that all of these while writing the letter is correct. Let us now go through what are the components of letter format. So First is the writer's address. If you are writing a letter to someone, you have to make sure that you are mentioning your address. Now, why should we do that? It is because in case when you are addressing the letter to someone wants to send you a reply, so that person can see your address and reply to the same address. Second thing is when and where should be mentioned in the letter, so that when the recipient is reading our letter understands that from where, whether it is Delhi or Bangalore or Guwahati or which place you're writing it from. It should generally be on top left or right corner. Now, it should end, every line should be aligned towards the left so that there's a proper structure being followed. Next thing is the date. Whatever date you are writing the letter, make sure you mention that date on the letter. In a formal letter, you also have to mention the recipient's address, but in an informal letter, you may not do that. Next thing is subject line. Now, when it comes to a formal letter, it is very important for us to write the subject so that whosoever gets the letter understands that when the person reads the subject, understands what is the letter all about. If you do not write the subject, he has to go through the entire content before forwarding it to another department if that does not fall under his department. So under formal letters, make sure you're mentioning the subject. But when we are writing an informal letter to our parents or siblings, subject is not necessary. After the subject comes the salutation. So this is an initial greeting which we give to whosoever we are writing the letter to. Now, when we come to a formal letter, we do not know who the recipient is, who the manager is of the bank if we are writing a letter to the bank manager. So we should always mention respected sir or dear sir. But if it is an informal letter, we can just mention dear brother or dear sister or dear mother. Anything can be mentioned. Now, after the salutation comes the body of the letter. Now, this is the main content of the letter where we are mentioning everything of the letter. We have to convey the message to the reader. So, the style of writing will depend on the type of letter, which is first, if the letter has a lot of content, make sure you're dividing it into 2 or 3 paragraphs. So, smaller paragraphs. Then, try to avoid long sentences. We have to be clear and concise in our letter so that the reader understands every part of it. We don't have to leave any room for ambiguity, in the sense that if we are writing to the bank manager, we should not forget to mention our bank account details, because if we don't mention the bank account number, how will the manager understand who the person is? We can have 2 persons with the same name, but the account number would only be one. So if we are mentioning only our name and not our account number, the manager may get confused with respect to who has written the letter. So we should not leave any room for ambiguity. And we have to be careful with punctuation, because a wrong punctuation mark can change the meaning and tone of the letter. And as we saw that when marks are allotted to us, grammar is a very important component of it. So we should not do any grammatical errors. After writing the body of the letter, we should have a courteous ending and signature to our letter. So if it is a formal letter, we should end it with yours sincerely or yours faithfully. In case it is an informal letter, we can end with yours lovingly or with love. After the ending and signature, if we have any documents to be enclosed in the letter, which may happen in case of a formal letter. For example, if we have CV or certificates which we are attaching to the mail, we should mention enclosures, that these are the documents attached to it as enclosures. In case it is more than one, we request you to mention the number of documents you are enclosing. For example, if it is 3, please mention that enclosures 3. This in front of you is the sample of formal letter. So this is the format you also have to inculcate developing. First thing is the sender's address. So if we are writing the letter, we should mention here our address. Next thing is the date, which I already told you under the component section. After that is the receiver's address. So here we need to mention the title and name and address of who is the receiver. After that we should have subject. Now here when we talk about subject, we said that it has to be written in case of formal letters and it is not necessary in case of informal letters. After this comes the salutation. So we can start with dear or respected sir or respected ma'am. This is the body of the letter. So it is divided into 3 paragraphs. Here it starts with the introduction, then we talk about what is the reason behind us writing the letter, and then we just end it with a positive tone. After this, the positive tone is this. After this comes the ending salutation and our name. So here we've mentioned yours truly and the name. We just saw a sample formal letter. Now before going to the sample for informal letter, let us know what differentiates an informal letter from a formal one. So basis of comparison, first is the meaning. Now a formal letter is a letter written in formal language in the stipulated format for official purpose. Now official purpose is the main thing behind us writing a formal letter. When we talk about informal letter, a letter written in a friendly manner to someone you are familiar with is called an informal letter. So we can write an informal letter to our mother, our father, our siblings, our friends or relatives. Now the objective. So when it comes to formal letter, it is based, the objective is professional communication. We have some doubt or we want to inquire about something or we want to give them some instructions to be followed. So it is all professional communication, whereas informal letter, the objective is personal communication. We just write them to ask how they are, what they should do, what they should not do, how are we doing. Third is written in. Now in the formal letter, we mentioned first person in business letter and third person for all others. But when it comes to informal letter, we can use either first person or second person or third person. Written to, as I already mentioned, that formal letters are written to business, college or institute, employer or organization or banks or any government offices. But informal letters are written to friends, family, acquaintances, etc. Size. This has to be very concise in nature because the person reading our letter may not have adequate time to give to our letter. So we have to be very concise and crisp with respect to what we want from them. But the informal letter can be either large or concise. Here's the sample of an informal letter as to how you should write an informal letter. So first you have to mention the receiver's address. Now we don't have to mention our address in case of informal letters. After that is the date. We should mention the date on which we are writing the letter. After that is salutation. Now here please note that subject is not mentioned. But if it was a formal letter, we would have mentioned the subject also. So we start with the body of the letter. Note that the tone here is very personal. We are being very personal. It is not a professional letter. And we end it with the salutation and our name. So this is the format. Just we are attaching a PDF of the same presentation. Kindly download it, read it and follow the same structure when you are writing your letters. Here is a list of letter writing topics we have for you. So a total of 5 topics we've given you, out of which 3 are formal and 2 are informal. Please practice them in the order that we have told you and follow the same format to increase your scores further. That's all we have for you in today's video. I hope this video helps you increase your scores further. We will soon be releasing another video on Pressy writing. Please stay tuned to Oliveboard to not miss any videos from our end. Hope you have a great day ahead. Bye.